Okay, let's take a comfortable seat and we'll begin. So we're going to use a chair for class today, and you could start by sitting in that chair if you prefer. It's completely up to you. If you like sitting for centering by sitting on the floor, you can also do that. And then please rest your hands in your lap and let your eyes close. And start bringing your senses into the present moment. This happens to be a morning practice, so if you're practicing in a different time zone, and that means it's an evening practice, or you're practicing it as a recording and it's an evening practice, in the evening we do kind of take the senses inward because they've been out and about in the marketplace all day. Marketplace just means interacting with other people and with life. So since most of us are practicing in the morning right now, let's bring the senses out slowly, like the rays of the sun, kind of touching base with the day. So you could start, even though the eyes are closed, you could start by noticing the quality of light against your eyelids. Also notice that your eyes take care of that process. So if the light touching your eyelids was to brighten, your eyes on the inside, they would register how to recalibrate. And you can sense the experience of sound in the environment around you. And you may notice that at different times of day where you dwell or where you live, there's different kinds of sounds that you can anticipate. Let's let sound just be like a really neutral occurrence right now. It is what's happening. And it's asking us to just be aware that the present moment includes sound. And then any sense of the aroma or the taste, so the sense with the nose and the tongue. And then any experience of the sensations of the physical body. So like the air on the skin, or the feeling of the clothing, or sometimes you feel your hair touching your face, your hips on the support that you're sitting on. So all 5 senses. And there's a 6th sense that we call interoception. So the 5 senses, they do help to orient us in the present moment in life, on the outside of the physical body and also on the inside, the sort of external world and the internal world. And interoception is a sense of the inner experience, like the felt sense of your own rhythm right now, the felt sense of your vitality, more bright or more dull, the internal sense of your breathability, more spacious, less spacious. Each thing that we observe, we do that without judgment. We do it without preference. We're just noticing. So now let your breathing become a little smoother, a little bit deeper. And this is where we go from witnessing what's happening with the senses to partnering with the breath. So allow it to become smooth and steady to the best of your ability. It does help to lengthen the spine up because the rib cage will lift slightly off of the diaphragm, and you'll make space for the breath to go down into the lower region of your torso. And so notice for yourself, what is the quality of the breath today? Like the inhale, a pause at the top of the inhale, the exhale, and a pause at the bottom of the exhale. Or maybe there's no pauses today and you have a hard time breathing in, or you feel like it's all inhale and no exhale. Just really notice whatever the experience is. So you're witnessing the experience, you're participating in the experience, and then we are kind of stewarding our experience, right? We put wisdom into action, we do our best with the practice, we come at it with non-judgment and with lots of appreciation. We're here to be curious and to learn new things about ourselves. So with all of that, please bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra. And we're going to chant together the Sahanavavatu chant. We'll sing each line and then leave a little silence at the end of each line. Sahanavavatu, Sahanavavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Saviryang Karavavai, Saviryang Karavavai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma vidvishavai, Ma vidvishavai. Om Shanti Om. Okay, with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. And please open your eyes. So today I'm particularly interested in teaching yoga, showing how to incorporate a chair because I've had some requests. And I also know that for some people, where you're practicing yoga, you don't have the floor space that you would want to practice on, or it doesn't feel like you can get down to the floor comfortably, then back up from the floor comfortably. Or people have hip or knee replacements and they're not quite sure how to do yoga in that regard. So my intention today is to give you a full yoga practice and for you to sense that it's possible. We will go to the floor for part of the practice, but we'll show how to get down to the floor from the chair. So I'm going to come back to my chair and my little spot here, and Susie, you can go to the camera that shows that, which is, I think, called Sarahjoy phone. Okay, and then for everyone, please take a seat on the front edge of your chair. Thank you, Susie. And when you're sitting upright like this, place your feet so they are hip distance apart and parallel. Interlace your fingers and inhale, raise your arms high. And when you're pressing up here, I'd like you to press up for sure, but also take your floating ribs gently in. So you're not flaring the front ribs forward. And let's see about how we can, again, witness and participate. So you're witnessing what's happening with the body, but you're welcome to make a slightly deeper breath in. You don't need to suck the inhale in. It's not like you're grasping for the inhale. Allow the body to receive your in-breath. And when you exhale, consider drawing your deep low belly in towards your spine so you can expel the breath a little bit more completely. Now with this inhale, push up and open the windows of your mind and your heart. Lift your gaze. And then reach back to hold the legs of the chair. Squeeze the shoulders back and bring your gaze down. So we take the shoulders back, and it's a pretty strong squeeze of the shoulders and the shoulder blades towards the back and towards the spine. But allow your head to come down so you're not using your chin to try to move your shoulders back. And now see if you could breathe into the back hemisphere of your body. So the inhale's not only in the front abdomen. When you exhale again, consider toning the low belly to kind of expel the exhale just as completely as you can. And do that one more time, please. You exhale, squeeze the shoulders back. And then release both arms down and just let them dangle. You can give a little shake to the arms so that you're kind of unraveling any unnecessary tension there. Great. And then bring both arms forward and cross your right elbow over your left. Weave the arms around each other so the elbows are more or less centered if you can. And not everyone's hands are going to make it right here. So some of you will hold a strap or a belt or can hold your sweatshirt sleeve so that you can have something to hold the hands together. And then as you inhale, raise your elbows up and make a little back bend from the upper back. And when you exhale, pull your elbows down, but keep the crown of the skull rising. Good. Let's do that 3 times. Inhale, raise your elbows up. And exhale, draw your elbows down, raise the crown of your skull up. Again, inhale to rise. And last one, as the exhale comes, lower your elbows, tone the low belly, raise up through the crown of your skull. And then inhale, sweep your arms wide. Nice job with that. Okay, good, beautiful. And then cross your left elbow over your right. Weave the arms. Great. You might notice that the 2 sides are different. Nobody's really symmetrical. Again, you can hold a sweatshirt sleeve if you need to hold the hands with something. Let's inhale to go up. And then you exhale, squeeze the elbows down, tone your lower belly, reach up through the crown of your skull. Inhale to rise. Little sense of a back bend in the upper back and heart. And exhale to pull down. Each exhale is a chance to kind of expel from the body that which would be a hindrance for you. So inhale, raise the arms up, increase your vitality, your optimism, your curiosity. And exhale, take the elbows down and squeeze out things like self-doubt or self-criticism. And then inhale, sweep the arms wide. And exhale, lower both hands and arms down. One more time, shake them, because this little shake, this is a way of releasing neurological tension. You're also sending the blood supply down towards your hands. So your heart gets the message that right now, you're not so stressed that the heart has to be preoccupied with the blood supply to the trunk, but actually can recirculate down to the hands and arms. And then let your arms get really still and notice the sensations of your hands. Noticing those sensations on the inside is one aspect of interoception. You please hold your chair with your right hand and tip your left ear towards your left shoulder and breathe into the right side of your neck here. Bring your chin in towards your throat so you've got these options. So this is called neck flexion when you bring the chin towards the throat. And then when you open the chin away from the throat, this is called neck extension. We don't tip the head backwards so much as we raise the chin slightly. And then bring your chin down in towards your right collarbone. And inhale to open your chin away from your right collarbone, staying on this little diagonal here. And exhale to curl in. Now, if you're noticing that there's quite a bit of tension on the side of your neck, this is not a time for self-judgment, but rather like for self-compassion. And the fact that you can notice that there's sensations there, those sensations were there before we began our practice this morning. This is how we get to know them. So the fact that you can notice it, this is a blessing. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, lift your chin away from your throat on this diagonal. Good, and then exhale and bring that back in. And when your chin comes towards your right collarbone, now rotate your chin towards your left collarbone. And then rotate it back. So your left ear gets heavy towards your left shoulder again. And then bring your chin in and cross it over towards your left collarbone. And then roll that also back to where we started here with the left ear heavy towards the left shoulder. And one more time. Bring your chin across. Now as you're gazing down past your left shoulder, take your left hand up to give a little bit of gentle support. So the right side of the neck might feel longer. It's really helpful to keep your chin snugged in towards your throat. In fact, though you're gazing down, lift the very base of your skull up slightly. And then release your left arm, release your right hand, and float your head up to center. And let's just pause to notice how the two sides of the neck are different. That experience on the inside that you can sense, that's your interoception. How you sense something from within. And then hold the chair with your left hand and tip your right ear towards your right shoulder and bring your chin in towards your left collarbone. So these regions of the body, we actually have to get in there deliberately because these are protective muscles. You know, when we feel stressed, we go like that, or we have some reflection of that. So these muscles being protectors, we have to find our way to go in kindly and to say, hey, we welcome you to soften or to surrender or to work less hard. So as you tip your right ear towards your right shoulder, bring your chin in towards your collarbone. And inhale. And then you can glide your chin up away from your collarbone so your head is on this diagonal to the right. And then we glide it back down. So it's not that you're tipping your head backwards in that action. It's more that you're raising your chin up. You're trying to lengthen the left side of your neck. Good. Yeah, there's the scalenes and the SCM. And bring your chin in and down towards your left collarbone, excuse me. And do that smoothly a few times more, like we're just massaging attention and kindness into the left side of your neck. Giving attention, offering kindness. Beautiful, you're doing a great job. The next time that your chin comes down towards your left collarbone, go ahead and keep it snug so it's going to stay in close and rotate over towards your right collarbone. So you might be noticing the muscles on the low part of the neck where it meets the shoulder. And rotate back towards your left collarbone. And rotate across towards your right collarbone. And do that a few times more. Moving slowly with attention and kindness. And so one more time, we'll take the chin over towards the left collarbone. And secure your fingers on the side of the chair again. Bring your chin over towards your right collarbone. You are gazing down. And I'm going to ask you to bring your right hand up if you would like to. You don't have to. But as you put a little bit of pressure there, lift the base of your skull. So it's not just that you're pulling your face down towards the floor. You're actually lifting at the base of the skull in response to the pressure of your hand on your head. And breathe onto the left side of the neck. Try to see if you can imagine inside the distance from the base of the skull on the left occiput, down the left side of your neck, where it meets the shoulder, and then across towards the shoulder itself. And then release your right arm down, release your left hand from the chair, float your head up to center. Imagine the head is like driftwood on the ocean, let it be very light. And as you pause, check inside with the sensations of the neck and the throat. Listening in there, that is the experience of interoception. Now please cross your left ankle, let's do the other side, right ankle over your left knee. And when you cross over, there's an inclination to bring this foot to center to make this whole thing less painful. Instead of that, please keep your left shin vertical. And if when you cross your right ankle onto your left knee, this is a very strong stretch for you, then walk your left foot a little bit forward. So your knee will end up being lower rather than the knee being crooked or sideways. Otherwise, you can keep your foot also directly under your left shin. Okay, lift up through your heart. And as you bow forward any amount, you can say hello to the right hip joint. It's helpful to keep the right foot toned and engaged here. So you can pull the toes back towards your right knee and keep the ankle strong so it's not sickled or bent when you're resting your ankle on your knee. And let's go ahead and close the eyes and take the breath down into your right hip joint. Listen for the sensations in there. And know that all sensations are like information storehouses from your body. Some sensations in a stretch will feel like they pervade the whole stretch, they're everywhere. Some will feel much smaller, like a narrow sensation or a localized sensation. Just notice what happens as you breathe in. Your body will respond to the attention and the kindness that you give it. And then when you next inhale, please rise up to sitting. And when you come upright now, place your right foot back on the floor and cross your left ankle over your right knee. Okay. So again, if you have two different hips, you might have an inclination to be like, oh God, that's painful. So you end up destabilizing your base like this. So instead of that, if the right shin being vertical means this is very difficult on your left hip, then walk your right foot forward. Otherwise, we start where we are. Breathe in, lengthen up through the spine, and please come forward to say hello, good morning to your left hip. Let yourself breathe down into the left hip joint. So you're witnessing the sensations, you're partnering with the breath. We come to understand something about the inner body. How does your hip respond when you give it attention and kindness? You give it this opportunity with the breath to let those sensations be more understood. Not in denial, we are not forgetting about them, we are not dismissing the sensations. You can imagine each inhale is kind of like delivering a little bit of vitality to your hip joint, and each exhale is like taking out the garbage or the garbage disposal of the body. The exhale is a cleansing breath, so you can imagine it this way. Good, and then as you next inhale, please rise up to sitting and place your left foot back on the floor. Okay. Now we're going to explore something in the chair, and then we'll be coming up to standing, and we'll use the chair for some support. So when I turn to my right in the chair, I'm going to turn only part way. So this is like a 45-degree angle in the chair. Okay. And I do want the right foot to stay flat on the floor. We're going to take a little bow forward and step the left foot back. Okay, so what I've done here is my right leg is diagonal on the chair seat, which means I have both parts of the chair seat to use for support. The part outside of my right hip and the part inside the right thigh. Okay, so I'd like you to press down against the chair seat and strengthen and lengthen your left leg behind you. Okay, and then walk your hands up to your right knee and push down there to start bringing the torso a little bit more upright. Now, this area of the body is what we're hoping to stretch, your left hip flexors. For some of you, if it feels like it's really tight, what's going to start happening is that the left knee will begin to bend. And that might be wisdom in the case of your body, right? Because we don't want you to have an overarch in the lower back. So let's navigate this by toning the low belly, lift in and up here. If needed, let the left knee bend slightly or moderately, but try to keep a sense that you can lift the deep belly muscles in and open the front of your left hip. If you press firmly down against your right thigh with your hands, that is going to help you to get this inner lift to the belly. Try to sense that there's muscles in there, right? And sometimes we go about daily life, we aren't even aware, but try to sense the lift inside as you press down with both hands on your right thigh. We don't need the left leg to be any straighter or stronger than the left hip flexors can tolerate. So if you sense your lower back starts to feel compressed, you have to take the left knee a little bit bent, left low belly a little more toned, left low back a little more spacious. And then to release this pose, I actually recommend that you bow slightly forward, hold the chair again, slide your left knee forward, and let's change to the diagonal on the other side. So you sit at this tiny diagonal like this, and Susie, let's go to the side view camera. And you're going to step back with the right leg like this. And so what happens now is you have a little space on the chair on the inside, you have a little space on the chair on the outside, and you can press firmly into the chair with both hands. Okay, good. And then strengthen and lengthen your right leg behind you. Yeah, very nice. Now come into awareness of the low belly, and as you press down against the chair, you're going to be sweeping the low belly in right here. And place your hands on your front thigh, and as you push down, lift the low belly in. For some of you, you might find that your left hip is not so heavy on the chair, but you've got this kind of internal lift, the left heel's grounded. Maybe the back of the left knee is supported by the chair, but the left hip does not need to be sitting heavily on the chair. See if you can notice the lift inside the inner belly. And notice that you're navigating also the strength at the back of the right hip, the front of the right hip flexor for openness, and the length at the lower back on the right side. So we need tone and lift in the inner right belly. We need strength at the back of the right butt, length at the right hip flexors, and space in the right lower back. And then when you next exhale, I'm going to ask you to bow slightly forward, and then you bring your right leg forward to meet your left and swivel to face forward once more. We'll go to the front facing camera. Susie, thank you. The Sarahjoy phone camera. Okay, notice what's happening in this region of the body. Just those little things that we have done. They're not so little, actually. Okay, let's come up to standing. And please take your chair and place it so that it's secure against something. Maybe it's stuck to the yoga mat, so you know it's not going to be sliding. Or you can secure it to the wall behind your chair. Place both hands like this. And please step backwards to downward facing dog pose. This is what we call in yoga downward facing dog with a chair. So we call this chair dog. As you stretch back like this, place your hips more or less vertical to your heels and reach back with your spine as if your hands were sort of glued to the chair and you were getting some traction from your hands to your hips. And then as you breathe in this position, give yourself full permission to explore the breath in the low belly, in your back waist, in the sides of your torso, maybe even the upper back. Perhaps the top of your inhale reaches the place between your shoulder blades. Now, as you next exhale, press down against the chair seat, roll your spine forward, and step your right foot up towards the toes of the chair. Okay. And then press down through your tailbone, bring your hands to your hips, and let's explore the same thing we just had when we were sitting on the chair. So you need to have this lift to the left low belly, strength to the back of the left butt, length on the left hip flexors, and at the lower back, all through there. And then inhale, raise your arms high. You have to recall now from before that we pressed down against the right thigh with our hands. So picture that downward pressure on the right thigh. The right thigh should feel heavy and strong, and the inner lift of the low belly. And inhale smoothly and deeply. It is your birthright to have this vitality come into your body. Now when you exhale, take the arms wide, come slowly forward to touch the chair seat with both hands. As you inhale, straighten your right leg and say hello to the back of your hamstrings here. When you do so, it's not necessary for your back heel to reach the floor completely. You could turn it sideways for more support if you want to, or you can keep the heel slightly lifted. Okay, so breathing in. You could choose to place your forearms on the chair seat. You could choose to keep your hands on the chair seat. But travel down into your right leg and hip and try to sense the sensations there as information from your body. And notice how the sensations change when you give attention and breath and kindness. And then if you moved your elbows to the chair seat, please take it back to your hands. And please bend your right knee. Let's step backwards to the downward dog pose again with the chair. So reach way back with both hips. Secure both hands on the chair seat. And let's notice what's different in your right leg relative to your left. And any differences in your hips or along the spine. And then come forward, roll your spine forward, step your left foot up to the toes of the chair. Walk your hands back towards your hips. Rise up to the vertical place for your torso, remembering you need the lift of the right low belly, the strength at the back of the pelvis, the length on the front of your right hip flexors, and length at the lower back. Okay, let's raise the arms. In all of this, we can recall pressing down against the left thigh with both hands. So let the left thigh be heavy and the inner body rising up. You're doing great. Yeah. Think of that which is both stable and strong, and then that which is vibrant and long. And breathe into the low belly. This vitality that you're creating right now is a part of your birthright, to have your body's health and vibrancy and vitality from within. When you next exhale, sweep your arms wide and come slowly forward. We'll touch the chair seat again, and please straighten your left leg. And if your hamstrings give you trouble in daily life, if they feel tight or irritated, it's okay to bend the left knee a bit. And if you have the flexibility for it, it's okay to come down to your elbows. Everyone's a little bit different in this regard. Yet we're all practicing awareness of the sensations now, down the back of the left hip, left hamstring, left calf, towards the heel. As you're breathing in and noticing these sensations, please again consider your body providing you with information. This is not your body trying to react against you. Sensations are information pathways. Breathe in again, please. And then as you exhale, bend your left knee, walk your hands back to the chair seat if you had come to your elbows. And let's carefully step the right foot forward to meet the left foot, please. And rise up to standing. And when you come up to stand, just take notice, like, wow, what is happening? What's happening inside? Sometimes I hear from students, they feel it's a little bit like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, when Charlie and his grandfather are floating up in the bubbles. That this effervescence or this vibrancy, this vitality comes back. It's being awakened from within, this vibrancy. Okay, now we're going to explore how to use the chair to make triangle pose a little bit different. We're not going to reach all the way for the floor. We're going to use the chair instead. But I want to show you how to move the hips and pelvis to get into it. So I'm going to show you with my left hip because it's going to be the better view for you to learn from. So please watch for a moment. When I step back to this basic lunge that we were doing before, and then straighten my front leg, now what I want to do is be thoughtful about how I'm going to turn my pelvis and lower back and back heel to the floor. So I prefer that we go like this to cat pose. Notice how much space I have right here. So I'm not likely to cause these bones, the thigh bone and the hip socket, to knock against each other. And I keep this sort of parachute quality back here as I'm turning. So the turn did not mean that my left hip had to sail wildly left and right. It didn't flicker. And then we can open the pose like a sail on a ship. But first we have the parachute. Okay, let's do it with your right foot forward first because then I can see you. And it's nice to start on the right side for consistency's sake. Okay, so right foot forward, left foot back like this, please. Good. And then straighten your right leg in your own timing. Great. Now let's press down into both hands and come into cat pose with your torso, your tailbone. Notice when you come to cat pose, you probably have a little bit less weight in your arms. You are pressing down against the chair, but a lot of the weight should feel like it's gone into the responsibility of your legs. And so keeping that cat pose spine, start turning your pelvis slowly to your left without moving the hands just yet. Notice how much has already changed. Keep your cat pose spine and breathe into the back of your waist. Strengthen your right leg. And then pressing firmly into your right hand, let the left arm dangle for a moment. So your pose hasn't yet opened up. You're still a parachute. Notice the strength across the low belly. And then start turning your pelvis to your right. Turn your lower abdomen to your right. Turn your mid-abdomen to your right. Turn your heart. Open the shoulders. Lift your gaze. And sweep your left arm, to the sky. Sorry about that, you guys. I was mirroring and then I stopped mirroring. I've been teaching as a mirror for 30 years, so you understood, I hope. You were turning to your left, not your right. Raise your left arm high. And in this process now, try to keep the strength that you have in your legs. From the first moment I said, hey, look at that. The arms don't have as much responsibility as the legs do. So don't overly rely on your right arm. Use the strength of your legs. Breathe in, open the right hemisphere of the torso, sweep your right arm past your right ear so that from your, left arm past your left ear, so that from your left heel to your left fingertips, there's a big C shape that you are breathing into. Yeah, beautiful. Very good. And then as you exhale, start the process of rolling down. Now keep the legs strong and steady. So somewhere you're going to start feeling all these sensations, perhaps on the lower back, the left side of the waist, maybe the left outer hip. Both hands reach to the chair. Pick up your left heel. Bend your right knee. Let's step backwards. And see what the downward dog pose can feel like right from here. And then float your left foot forward. So left foot up between the toes of the chair. Please straighten your right leg. And we're gonna again do cat pose for several breath cycles. So when you come into your cat pose, notice the legs have a lot more responsibility relative to the arms. As you're broadening into your back waist here, think of a parachute shape. And start turning your pelvis to your right. You're going to kind of corkscrew your right foot so that your right heel comes in towards the mat and down to the floor. Keeping your parachute strong, let your right arm dangle for a moment. So the right arm dangles like a lazy elephant trunk, but keep the parachute of the back body. Notice the right lower back, right side waist. Begin turning your pelvis. Now your lower belly. Lengthen your left inner thigh as you turn your mid belly. Turn your rib cage to the right. Roll your right shoulder back. Turn your gaze up to the right. And then raise your right arm high. And sweep your right arm across to make that C shape. So you're going to lengthen from your right heel into your right fingertips. And keep thinking of the parachute for the lower back with this beautiful sail on the ship for the upper back and heart. Don't overly rely on your left arm. As I said before, when you went into cat pose, your legs had more responsibility than your arms did. We can use the arms wisely right now, but we want to rely on the strength of the legs for grounding and steadiness, for vitality and stamina. And then keeping your triangle pose relatively strong, lower only your right arm down towards the floor. And begin to unwind so slowly that you can really sense like the sensations across your right mid-back, right lower back. Slowly, slowly unwind. When you feel ready to, pick up your right heel, bend your left knee, and please step forward with your right foot. Balance your feet into mountain pose and stand strong and tall. Thank you. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Let both arms relax for a moment. Try to feel, okay, what is the inner landscape of the body now? What is this interoceptive system telling you? That means, what are the sensations on the inside reflecting back to you? Okay, now I'm going to ask us to place some padding on the floor where your knee is going to be. So let me get some padding that I can show with. So if I take a blanket like this, I'm going to fold this one a little bit differently. I want this to be that I can put my knee on this and be comfortable enough. And so you're going to be lowering down to touch with the knee. For some of you, if your knees are tender, here's an idea. I'm going to show you by making this more distinct color. So when we put the knees down, let's say that I'm going to have my knee on the blanket like this. If I have it be my shin on the blanket and the kneecap is free right there, your knee will have less discomfort when it's on the floor like that. Okay, so let's come down to both knees and scooch to the right side of your chair like this. Yeah, good. And then step your right foot forward. So at the moment, my kneecap is not touching the blanket, nor is it touching the floor. And then you get to come forward like this, and you can place your hands on the chair or the elbows. And so what we're looking for is that your left hip flexors right here can enjoy this stretch to come in. So just at first, I want you to get to know what's happening with your left hip flexor. So send your mind down there like it's a little submarine, finding out. And root your tailbone down. So it should feel like the tailbone is like the timid tail of a shy puppy. It's going down, not back and not up. And then place one hand firmly on the chair seat, one hand firmly on your right knee, and push down to lift the inner body up. Yeah, good. So that downward pressure is really important, that you press down with both hands and you can access the strength of the inner belly to lift right here in the front of your left hip. Now, yoga does have a pose where we would let go of the chair and raise both arms. Let's just take the right arm overhead. If you can keep your balance, you can also lift your gaze. And then as you exhale, use your belly muscles to bring your torso upright. And place both hands on the chair seat. Press down against it and bring your right shin back. Walk to the other side of your blanket. And then step your left foot forward. And there you have your shin on the blanket, but not your kneecap. So the kneecap is neither touching the blanket nor the floor. It gets to have like a little ledge. And we'll come down first. As you come in, notice what your right hip flexors have to say about this position. They're different than your left ones. Nobody is symmetrical, not near to my knowledge anyway. So what does the right hip flexor group have to say? What information is there? You're going to press the right hand firmly down against the chair seat. Tone the low belly. Take your left hand to your left knee. Press down so you can get a good lift for the inner body to go up. And in this upward rising, we do need the downward pressure to support the upward lift. So even the left heel has to be strong. The right butt muscles, left hip muscles, both hands. And if you have your balance, you may choose to raise your left arm. Yeah, beautiful. So nice to see you. Just keep making the efforts that are yours within your body's capacity. Let's inhale one more time. And then exhale, use your low belly muscles to bring yourself up. And step your left shin back down to the blanket so both shins are on the blanket now. And see if you can balance just on your knees. Take the tailbone down. Place both hands on the chair seat. Curl your toes under and lift to plank pose. And then reach backwards to downward facing dog pose. And take a deep breath in, experience whatever your body is offering you right now without experiencing it through judgment or preference, but rather appreciation. And then step over your blanket to come back up to standing. Rise up to stand. And come once more to mountain pose. Just find out what's going on, what's happening inside. Now we're going to do just a little bit of strength conditioning. So if in measuring where I just was with my blanket and my chair, I assess that I have to pull my blanket slightly back. I'm going to ask you to watch this. How will you know what you're going to be doing? When I step forward now, I want to start here and take the left toes back. So this is the basic lunge. basically mean that the front knee is bent. It's the basic structure of the lunge. And this is lightly touching the knee down and then lightly bringing it back up. So I knew that my blanket was too close to my chair for that. That's why I scooted it back a little ways. So go ahead and take care of that for yourself. This is strength conditioning. You're about to find out the relationship between the strength of your arms, your low belly, the tightness of the hip flexors, and the strength of the glutes. I'm glad you're here. Okay. All right, so let's start with 2 straight arms on the chair. I see you got your blanket set. So the right shin vertical. The right shin's not going to be moving forward and back here. We're going to exhale and touch the left knee really lightly down, only lightly like a dragonfly touching the water, but not making a splash. And then inhale, straighten your left leg. And exhale, touch the left knee down like a dragonfly, no splash on the water. Inhale to strengthen and lengthen your left leg. And exhale to touch lightly down. Lift the low belly in so that the left knee doesn't feel like it has to crash to the floor. Good. Inhale to strengthen and lengthen. Notice the strength of your arms, also using the arms delicately but discerningly. The arms are not the primary support here, but when you straighten your left leg, you can put some force into the arms too. Okay, one more time. Lightly touch the left knee down, use the low belly strength, your right hip strength, and then strengthen, lengthen your left leg. And step backwards with your right foot. There's like a downward dog pose moment. Take a deep breath in. Float your left foot forward. Now your left knee is not going to be going front to back here. It's not going to run into the chair, so keep that steady. And as you exhale, touch your right knee down. Lightly like a dragonfly, no splashing. And then strengthen and lengthen. Good. And then lightly down. You're doing it, very good. Inhale, strengthen and lengthen. And exhale to touch down. Inhale to strengthen and lengthen. Here we have the arms come in a little bit more firmly in the basic lunge. But when you're touching the right knee down lightly, use your left hip muscles and butt muscles and the right belly muscles. And then lengthen and strengthen. And one more time, right knee down. And then last time, strengthen and lengthen. Press into the chair with both hands and step backwards over your blanket. And then walk forward over the blanket. Rise up to standing. Come to mountain pose. And notice what's happening in the lower hemisphere of the body. Like even what's your body temperature feel like there? What's happening with your heart rate? All of this that's active is a natural response. And we're witnessing it right now. Also, it's going to be very slightly changing. Your heart rate will come down, your breath rate comes back to homeostasis, your temperature re-regulates itself. Okay, and I'm going to ask you to put your blanket aside and bring your chair back to sit in. I have to remember now that I'm mirroring you, because I have to say my lefts and rights as you experience them, not as I experience them. And like I said, I was doing that for 30 years, so it's not hard. It's that now, in real time on the camera, it's a little bit different. So let's turn to the right side of the chair, please, completely. Like this. And scooch a little bit forward. And then reach to hold the upper back of the chair. So when you twist to your right here, You're going to hold the upper back of the chair with both hands, wherever it's comfortable to hold. Rotate your head to your right. You may close your eyes and really practice breathing in to the inner experience of your body right now. Do your best to allow the breath to come even into the back of the sacrum and the lower back, the sides of the waist. So the breath is not limited to the upper chest. The inhale begins in the deep abdomen. Listen to the sound of the breath in the inner body. Notice how your body is responding when you offer it this attention and kindness and breath. And then as you exhale, rotate around to face towards your knees. Pause to feel your body's experience right there. And then swivel around to the other side. And sit so your feet are flat on the floor. That's why I said scoot forward before, because if I don't, my feet are not flat on the floor. Lengthen the spine up and please rotate. Now, as you're rotating to your left, it might be a different experience for you than when you're twisting to your right. We are different left to right. So bring equal kindness and attention and care to the twist in this direction. And try to bring the breath into the back of your sacrum, the back of your waist. Even the sides of the waist can breathe. Listen for what you're able to sense in your inner body. That's the practice of interoception, sensing where your body needs to receive kindness or breath, sensing where there's a little tightness somewhere or the habit of holding tension. And then one more time, breathing in. And with your exhale, gently unwind and turn to face towards your knees. Pause and notice what's happening again. Now I'm going to show you how to come down to the floor. For those of you who have been having difficulty with that, or it's just not something that you do very often, I do want you to be able to rest on the floor with the blanket and the chair. So I take this blanket here. Okay, first thing is I want to be able to come down, so I place my hands and touch the knees down using my upper body strength right there. Okay, and then you're going to want to be able to turn sideways. We're going to roll into this position, which means that I put my hips now down sideways on the blankets and then lower the right shoulder down. So like I'm lying on my side, and then you roll onto your back, adjust the cushion that you have under your pelvis, and put your legs up on the chair seat. Hopefully your feet go through the back of the chair Hopefully they aren't caught by the back of the chair, but if that's the case, you put your feet up on the upper back of the chair like that. I would recommend your knees are supported, because if it's at the back of the calf, that's going to feel like a little bit cutting into your calf when you're trying to rest. And take the arms out like this. Close your eyes. I'm going to walk you through the process of that interoception that is really deeply healing to the inner body. So once you take the arms out and the palms face up, you could choose to cover your eyes again with something like the sleeve of your sweatshirt, or if you have an eye mask that you use. And let's bring awareness first to the toes, and imagine the toes too have received this yoga practice. Notice any sense of aliveness there in the toes. And invite your toes to become profoundly relaxed. Let the toes know there's nothing for them to do right now. And notice the webbing between the toes, those places of skin. And allow that also to soften, to deeply relax. Observe whatever sensations are present there. And then notice the mounds of the toes, right across from the big toe mound to the pinky toe mound. This is the place where if you were going to stand on a ladder, you would press that part of your foot down against the ladder. So notice the mounds of the toes and invite this part of your foot to deeply relax. Notice the arches in your feet, the arches on the tops of your feet. Notice any sensations there. Maybe even the pulsation of your body is sensed inside your feet. And as you're sensing that, invite your arches to deeply relax. And then come into your heels. And notice any sensations in the roundness of your heels. And imagine the heels also become deeply at ease. Now include your ankles in your awareness. The ankles are a very interesting bony structure. So imagine the bones and the spaces inside and between the bones. Everything being deeply relaxed. You can imagine that from one ankle bone across to the other, left to right. From the sole of the heel up towards the front of the ankle. And then come to the shin bones, the base of the shins, the front side, the base of the calves and Achilles on the back side. Noticing here whatever sensations are present. And travel to the calves, a little bit further up, towards the mid-calves. The front of your shin bones. Invite there to be tremendous ease right here in your body. And then bring that slowly up from the mid-calves to the upper calves and upper shins. Notice the top of the shin bones. And any muscles attached there. And then bring yourself into the knee joints themselves. The kneecaps, the knee joints, noticing all these things, a very intricate joint. What sensations are present there? We're observing, but we are not judging. You can be deeply relaxed with what you sense and feel. And then traveling to the thighs, a large region of the body and very large muscles. So imagine the lower portion of the thighs. What sensations are there? And can you invite these muscles to deeply, deeply relax? And traveling to the mid-thighs. Again, allowing the skin and the muscles to deeply relax. You can just quietly notice what there is to notice, what's present now. And then moving to the upper thighs. Allow the upper thigh muscles to deeply relax, for the skin of the body to soften. And allow your hips to rest even more deeply into the blanket or the cushion beneath them. So start to get the interoception of deep ease from your toes to your hips. Noticing your hips and pelvis against the cushion. Become aware of any sensations from one hip bone to the other in the inner landscape of your body. And practice welcoming those sensations, like you are the witness, you are the audience. You are not bothered by what's coming and going. And then to the mid-belly, the region near to your navel. Again, allow the same inquiry and curiosity. And then into the upper abdomen, so the solar plexus, and all the vital organs in this part of the body. So our interoception includes the entire abdomen, the region we call the gut. And try to sense what is present here, maybe as you deeply relax, It feels quiet inside. And then coming up into the heart and the rib cage region. Observe what is present here. The physical heart, the emotional heart, the ribs, the lungs. Again, we're witnessing, but we're not judging or evaluating. And then moving from the heart up towards the throat and sensing what's present there, the throat and the neck, without needing things to be different, just observing. Invite there to be a deep quality of ease, so your observations are gentle. And all the muscles on the back of the neck, you can imagine them softening as they receive your kind attention. And then into the region of your head, allowing that also to be a place of deep quiet. All five senses and the mind can be deeply at rest. Now sensing how you've invited this process for yourself. It's an incredible gift to give to yourself. Keeping the inner body quiet, I'm going to ask you to gently glide your knees towards your chest so that your feet come to the front of your chair. And roll downhill to your side. And return yourself to come back up to sitting. You could sit in the chair if you prefer. You can also sit on the floor. Rest your hands out over your knees. And when you come upright, try to listen again to what is the internal landscape, this interoception of the entire body on the inside. So through this practice, may we learn to listen without judgment, to give attention that's kind, breathe into our experiences and allow them to inform us. So we are learning from the inside. Please bring your hands together at your heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. So may the gifts of your practice go with you as this day unfolds. So I'm going to come up where I can say hi to you guys.